Here's a picture of Steph, some more modern day, to bring it up to you guys. I know we showed some more old pictures there, Barry Sanders and some old stuff of Jordan back in the 80s, but movement hasn't changed. All right, it's the same as it was, all in all. But here's Steph. You can see here again, pretty strong right leg into the ground here. Really, really nice angles where everything's lined up. His knee is lined up with his ankle and foot. Everything's kind of in a nice straight line. You don't see this valgus or rotational forces. So everything's kind of in a linear plane still. You do once again see the trunk lean. So you notice his trunk is leaned forward over that limb as he's pushing himself back. This is a step back move where he's stepped his right foot just in front of that line, and he's going to push himself backwards and then behind that line, and then go directly vertical for a jump shot. And this is one of his very, very common plays, very, very common moves. But what I want you guys to appreciate more than anything is the trunk positioning relative to the leg, and recognizing the leg's not always bent, it's not always rotated in the ways we talk about it in rehab science. We talk a lot about valgus force, talk a lot about transverse plane force, and what you see here is you don't see those positions so much when you start looking at athlete movements and gameplay. What they really do is maintain linear movement really, really solid. So they control those other planes by not getting into them, which I think is what we're usually trying to say. Obviously, we're saying, hey, avoid valgus, avoid interrotation, whatever it might be, avoid transverse plane. But what we're really wanting to do is really establish control in those planes so they never have to get into them, is really what we're after here. But notice the trunk lean and ask yourself with the drills and such that you're conducting, are you incorporating trunk lean like this? Notice that foot is way outside his base of support. His trunk is leaned forward. He's kind of out of position here of what you would say a balanced position. He's lots of forces going through that right leg, but he manages them very well. So this is our goal when we look at deceleration and how we train it. So the number one risk of injury for the human body, for an athlete especially, would be a prior injury. So if someone's had prior injury, they're very likely to get hurt again. To me, that's a little bit of a stab in the heart as a professional to say that kind of means that maybe we didn't rehab them back to their prior level of function, and there was still deficits that came from the injury that led them to a future injury again. And that to me, I think is a terrible situation to be in. That's my passion in the profession, is to continue to help us all get better so that we can minimize those risks and continue to improve the outcomes of our customers. But the second biggest risk of injury is fatigue.